Hi everyone, Nonstop here. Welcome to my channel. I haven't been buying any records so far in 2025. I'm trying to not do that for various reasons, and also not to give Tommy the benefit of me folding before he does. So vinyl tags are, of course, one way of getting inspired and doing some artistic thing like this, making a video. Now, I already made the one they call the official, or the one that people have done the vinyl tag. But I was watching Mark and also Vinyl Shawn, and they both did Fluffy's vinyl tag. So trying to occupy my mind somehow, I decided to do that. Now, there are, I wrote them all down, all the questions, and now I mislaid the paper, so I'll try and look on my old phone. So let's see here what we got. Right, so Fluffy vinyl tag questions. So there are 20 of them, and there are 5 so-called bonus questions. Now, I'm actually going to use one of them because I'm not even really sure I understand one of the questions. But anyway, let's begin here. Starting off the year right. First record you spun to start the year. Now, I have a tradition that on New Year's Eve, just before, or maybe even a bit before, if I'm not doing something else, before the clock strikes 12, I always listen to a Rolling Stones album. And then, of course, that will play over the clock striking 12. If it stopped before the clock striking 12, maybe I'll play the same again, or I'll switch. So what I usually do is I listen to Sticky Fingers, which I did this year, but I had another one ready, so I put that on the turntable and listened to that when after midnight. And I'll just show you the box set version of it. So I'll just show you the box set version of it. I have my old vinyl and a couple of CDs as well. Anyway, so this year's first spin was the Rolling Stones' "Exile on Main Street." So this album cover could probably also be an entry to one of the later questions, but we'll just do it for now. I don't know how long time ago this box set came out. Now, this is a box set that I really think is quite perfect. It contains vinyl, it contains a coffee table book, and it contains what is it? Is it 2 CDs and a DVD? So I much prefer this one than the later ones where you have to choose. You either buy the ones with the CDs only or the ones with the vinyl only, like I ended up doing, for example, and regretting a little bit for Goat's Head Soup and Tattoo You. But there I bought the CD versions because of the coffee table book, which wasn't the same or wasn't present at all in the vinyl version. So the next one is an album originally released in a year starting with 5, and I thought I'd make it relatively simple and go back 10 years in time. Initially, I was going to grab and show Blur's sort of second reunion album, I suppose you could call it. Was it Miracle Whip, wasn't it? But I remember when I got my turntable back in 2014, I was very enamored with Carrie Brownstein, having watched her on Portlandia, and having listened to her band, was it Wild Flag, which only released one album, which was a blind buy in a way, because I knew who Carrie Brownstein was, but I hadn't heard her music properly. And then I went straight out after that and bought that gigantic box set with all of Sleater-Kinney's albums from before they broke up. But very shortly after, I became aware of the fact that they were releasing their first reunion album. They're still playing together, although of course their drummer left. So I am going to show you this beautiful thing here, Sleater-Kinney's "No Cities to Love." So that was when they got back together, America's best rock band. A limited edition deluxe LP, white vinyl bonus 12-inch featuring 2 exclusive tracks, fold-out poster, and unique slipcase cover. So this is a record I'm very fond of, from 2015. Number 3 is Nonstop Play, an album you couldn't stop playing this year. This album I also featured in an earlier video as probably my favorite new album of new music this year. But since I already did that, I am just gonna say that this is the album I played the most this year, and this is the latest album from Travis, LA Times. Travis, Scottish band. If you don't know them, know for the hit way back, Why Is It Always Raining on Me. I've been following them ever since they released their second album. Like very many other people, when their second album came out, we thought that was their debut. We were not aware that there was an earlier album from a few years earlier. But Travis, LA Times, wonderful album, and I said it the last time as well. I talked about it. The only thing I think might be a little bit wrong with it, it's too short. But there you go, Travis. So question number 4, or task number 4, if you like, is show the 25th album that pops up when you use your discogs. Now I had to filter that a bit because there were a few singles in between and one or two other odd things. I think maybe even a DVD, because DVDs can actually be, as long as they're proper music DVDs, concerts and so forth, can actually also be put into your discogs. So what I chose to do was to count from 1 to 25 for vinyl albums, excluding not live albums, excluding compilations. Yeah, I excluded. So, but I also thought, well, what's my 25th CD then? So I'll just show you a rare CD among all of these that I'm going to show. And this is actually a live album by my countrymen a-ha. So How Can I Sleep With Your Voice in My Head? So that popped up as my 25th CD. Again, once I'd removed a couple of compilation albums from, for example, 10cc. Now, my 25th vinyl album, I could have shown. I could show that for one of the later questions, but I'll do it for this. So this is AC/DC's For Those About to Rock. I actually only got this last year, and very happy to do so, because although I owned most of AC/DC's records on vinyl up until the CD era started, I never owned this one on vinyl. I had it on cassette, and don't think I still do. And then later on CD, and then later on those digipack CDs. So I was very happy to get this. It is not my favorite AC/DC album, and I just thought I'd show you the gold here, which is actually a question later on, but alright, we'll just make it the 25th vinyl album. I guess my favorite AC/DC, I don't know, it's kind of difficult to say. I'm very fond of, for those, what do you call it? Is it Power Age? And Highway to Hell, isn't it? But I also tend to listen quite a bit because, I did listen to Back in Black a lot when I finally got it on vinyl again, because my old vinyl was really bad. And I got the other one, the one that was a very special, when I think one of you guys showed in one of your videos, which was supposed to be a black and white splatter. Mine had like a dot this big that was white, and the rest of the entire record was black. So it just looked like there was some sort of error. But I also listened to which was number 26. I listened to Fly on the Wall a lot, and Flick Off the Switch. Yeah, so there we go. So the next question is kind of difficult. It's your favorite album, I would assume, of new music in 2024. And there are some albums I've really loved them, and I showed some of them, and I've said that Travis is probably my favorite new studio album of 2024. But I've said that in an earlier video, like I said, and it is definitely the new studio album of 2024 that I listened to the most. So I am going to show, I wouldn't call it a runner-up, but it is definitely a favorite album, new album of 2024, and I'm very happy to say that it's Crowded House, because their previous album I can't seem to get into it, but it's also this version of Crowded House. I have said it earlier, and I have a bit of a problem with it, because when he reformed Crowded House, of course, Nick Seymour's here, it's Neil Finn, but the previous Crowded House before that, and the one before that, featured Mark Hart, who came in after the short stint with brother Tim Finn. And he did not invite Mark Hart, who, by the way, has also been a member of the Latter Day Supertramp. And instead he invited Mitch Froom, I think it is, who was and still is, I suppose, a producer, and sons Liam Finn and Elroy Finn. Now, of course, I think it's great that he wants to play with his sons and all that, but I didn't like, and Mark seemed to be quite baffled by the whole not being invited to play with Crowded House again. So I think the previous album was a bit colored from that. I guess I sort of have moved on, and this is a wonderful album, really, really wonderful. So yeah, the latest Crowded House, and I'm a lifelong Crowded House fan, and before that Split Ends and all that. So yeah. So number 6 is Purple or Gold. Show a vinyl album that is either purple or gold. Now, I did show a gold one, which was AC/DC, but I thought, no, I do actually own, at least, well, I think I own more, but I do own some purple vinyl, and this is Inspired Carpets, a beautiful copy that I picked up at a record fair here in Oslo this summer. And this was my first, and so far only, Inspired Carpets album. Very much inspired to get these by some of you guys out there in the VC, and as you can see, here we are. Maybe it's a bit wine-ish, but in the color, but I would call that purple. So color me colorblind or whatever. But yeah, I really liked this album, and was glad about this question. Also made me grab it, so I'm going to put it in the pile of records I need to be listening to again. Number 7 is so Fluffy is a California lad, and for that reason I would assume he wants us to show a live album from California, and this is quite timely, I would say, for this is Soundgarden live from the Artist Den. Not just one of the most beautiful box sets I have, but also one of the most dangerous. Every time I grab this, luckily my Soundgarden records are on a bottom shelf, because every time I pull it out, I do the mistake, I pull it out there, and then it does this and falls to the ground. So it's a good thing it's sturdy. So it contains several vinyl albums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the 4th one is actually on my turntable now. A very nice book. So this is from the Wilton in California, just like that Rolling Stones record that came out in 23. So there are I love the artwork here, and this is of course Soundgarden playing live in their reformed post, Audio Slave and all that stuff. So he is, and which of course, unfortunately, was short-lived. I know that Chris's widow and the band apparently came to some sort of agreement, so hopefully they are working on releasing stuff that was recorded before he passed away. Something I'm sort of dealing with again now, because I'm listening to a book about Chris Cornell and Soundgarden and the Seattle scene, which I was listening to just about an hour ago. I was riding around town in a tram, because I like listening to audiobooks and riding around in trams. An album with a person featuring a cigarette on the cover. So I had a very good idea what I was going to show, and I got it out here and I started looking at it, and then I realized, no, that is in fact not a cigarette. And I suppose some of you might argue that it's not a person either, but this is Gorillaz with Humans. Very nice version I got here with a booklet. And I remember I bought this and I opened it and I was very happy, and then I panicked because I think there was a coffee table only book around that. So I was, oh my god, did I order the wrong one? And then I realized that the vinyl's inside the spine. But there are actually some smoking going on here, as you can see there. Yeah, well, Morten, those are not real human beings. What are you telling me, that cartoons aren't real human beings? So I thought, all right, I'll show something else. Then it gave me a chance to show, gave me a chance to show a record by my favorite bass player of all time. There's Monkey Grip by Bill Wyman. Naughty, naughty. Number 9 is Show a Black and White Album. And I went for a live album because it affords me a chance to show you guys a record from one of my other favorite bands, Depeche Mode. So I am showing you my original copy. This is the only original sort of copy, except the latest one, of the Depeche Mode album. I have no qualms about showing. I have decided not to get it. It's in really good nick. And for those of you who have seen my videos where I've been rebuilding my Depeche Mode vinyl collection, and in some of them I had never had on vinyl before. One of the reasons was that my old Depeche Mode vinyls from my teenage years were in such a terrible state. Part of the reason because I kept dragging them back and forth between Norway and Denmark on holidays and stuff. This one I didn't do that so much because I guess as a kid I wasn't that much into listening to live albums, so this one is in really good shape. So there's Depeche Mode 101. Number 10, an artist, well, I suppose a band, you have recently revisited. And I have been listening to Weezer a bit again lately. And I think it was because I pulled out some records for Chris Proffi's Winter tag. And the one that I've been revisiting because I felt this is my favorite. This one on the debut, I suppose, is my favorite Weezer album. But I felt I had been sort of not listening to it for quite a while. So this is Pinkerton. Their then not very well received second album, which is now, of course, considered quite the legendary almost album. I have a very sort of vanilla version of this. I would have loved to have one of those deluxe ones with a gatefold with a pop-up thing inside, or one of those audio, whatever they're called. Yeah, very fond of Weezer and extra fond of Pinkerton. So the next question, which is number 11. Show an album another VC member made you aware of or got you into. So not this album in particular, but Jack over at Vinyl Voyage, excellent channel. Please go there, subscribe. He did a video where he was visiting record shops in Germany, in Deutschland, in Berlin und die anderen fantastische Städte in Deutschland. And the subject of krautrock und Psychedelia, Psych Rock und so weiter that the Germans at some stage, and still I suppose had a very good handle on. And I sort of went into and looked at some variants of that when I was reading up on what the hell is krautrock and so on. And a band name that came up was intrigued me, and I went online and listened to them. I really liked it, and then I found a very nicely priced copy from a Norwegian seller, not on discogs but on Finn, and that's Kran. So Wiederhören. Let's listen again, or let's talk again, or whatever. It really, it's almost a Pink Floyd meets funk kind of album, I would say. And I've listened to this a lot since I got it, which is closing in on a year. I think it was back in March or April last year. So yeah, really, really great album, and I would never have heard them or never have been aware of them if it hadn't been for Jack. So thank you so much for that, Jack. Now, number 12 is a question which is reads something like, an album you have a hot take on. I don't think I understand that task or question. So I've done one of the fill-in things, which I now kind of regret, because that means I've been showing 2 Rolling Stones records in the same video. Oh well, c'est la vie, etc. But yeah, the title is kind of apt for how I'm currently feeling, and how the world is right now. So this is the Rolling Stones, a 10-inch. It said show a 10-inch or a 7-inch. So one of my very, very, very few 10-inch records. Doom and Gloom. Picked this one up last year. It was someone. Well, hope he didn't die, but it was someone who must have suddenly not needed their records anymore. So there was a giant Rolling Stones collection that showed up at Oslo's Rock or Rolls second-hand record shop. So I was very glad to get this one and another one. So I have 3 Rolling Stones 10 inches. So the next one is in honor of Rob Walker. It's called Their Second Album Is Their Best. Well, you know, a little bit difficult, but I guess this is my favorite Pearl Jam album, and so yeah, this is my favorite Pearl Jam record. Yes, love it. I listen to it. I think the ones that I listen to the most are this one, and later years I've really gotten into No Code. So yeah, there you go. But wonderful album, and I love Pearl Jam. Number 14 is a VC shout out. There's a channel that I have been watching and enjoying, and it's been quiet now for 3 months or something. So I hope everything's okay. And it's Dave's Basement Groove. So if Dave sees this, I hope everything is well. And it is a favorite channel of mine, and I thought I hadn't mentioned it for a while, and part of the reason was because I haven't seen a video from it for a while. And yeah, I thought I would just use this opportunity to do a shout out, and maybe hopefully find out if everything's okay. If he doesn't see this and it goes unnoticed, I would of course also like to shout out to someone I know is active, and I love his videos, and I have tagged and shouted it out before, but it's Mike Vinyl Spiral over there in Leeds. Number 15, an album that starts with the letter F. So this gives me an opportunity to show that it's not just Rob Walker, was it, who shows this band. I have talked about them before, and I absolutely love them. It's a 1980s band that was a blind buy for me when I was, I think, 14 years old, and I bought a cassette. I think maybe I heard one track on MTV, but it's actually this record, China Crisis, Flaunt the Imperfection. And it had the hit, which was it again? It was something Catholic yeah, King in a Catholic Style. I remember that was the very first track from them I heard. And this is a wonderful band, and it took me a while, but I finally got this on vinyl, and I almost got all their stuff on vinyl, and then I finally got their what was originally their latest album on CD, a French copy with a really weird cover. And then I know that they did some sort of what do you call it? One of those projects where they get people to pay to help them band. What is it? About 6 or 7 years ago, and they released an album, but those CDs and the vinyl disappeared so quickly that I unfortunately do not have it. But I've listened to it on Spotify, and it sounds really great. So hopefully we'll see a re-release of those in one way or another, or I'll come across a copy sold by someone who doesn't know the value of what they have or something. But anyway, guys, China Crisis, letter F, Flaunt the Imperfection. Number 16 is a show an album with a smile on the cover. Now, I was going to show Van Halen for the letter F, because my favorite Van Halen record is Fair Warning. But I said, no, I will not be the only one who ends up showing a Van Halen album, will I? And I sort of thought about it and regretted it. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to show an album by the band The Smile. That would be me trying to be clever. So I thought about it for a while, and then I ended up, it's not exactly smiling, I suppose, but it's called Eat Them and Smile, and it's David Lee Roth. One of the best things that happened for Record Store Day, Black Friday this year, was the release on vinyl of the original soundtrack to High Fidelity. One of my all-time favorite films, John Cusack, Even Jyle, and of course the great music herein. And now I finally have a copy on vinyl. This is not the best quality plastic cover I got there, but anyway. So why am I showing this? Well, it says to show. What was it again? Sorry, it was said to show. A musician featured in a movie. So I'm not showing him, but of course Bruce Springsteen shows up in a dream sequence, I suppose you could call it, in High Fidelity. So I thought I'd do it this way. I can't show singles all the time. Number 18, show an album with a great gatefold. So this is Super Furry Animals, Gorilla, from my favorites from Wales, Cymru. Yeah, it's got a great gatefold. It's got a fun gatefold anyway. Here we are. Fun pop-up there. So there you go. An album with a great gatefold. Super Furry Animals. Number 19, show a record that gets you pumped up. Now that can mean many things, I suppose. But this one sprung to mind. This is Metallica. Master of Puppets. Gets me pumped up. Number 20, final one. Show an album that you wish you could listen to again as if it was for the first time. And I'll show you my favorite heavy metal album of all time. And my favorite album by Iron Maiden. This is Somewhere in Time. And an amazing experience the first time I listened to it. It was so different than its predecessor, and Adrian Smith, who was exploring new technology and everything, is very much very present on this album, also as a songwriter. I think I heard, or maybe it was one of these so-called that his Malibu home. I think he's lost his home in the Los Angeles fires now. But Adrian Smith is my favorite member of Iron Maiden. So after their next album came out, that album, the subsequent album, where Steve Harris said, "No, we're going back to basics." He thought that was a mistake, and he left the band. And so Iron Maiden, from then on until he rejoined with Bruce Dickinson, wasn't the same for me. But This, to me, is their best album. It's the best heavy metal album I know of, and it's the Adrian Smith album for me. So there you go. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you watched it up until now, please check out the channels that I mentioned. I mentioned a couple of other VCs while I've been talking, and I'll try to remember to leave links to them. If you haven't already, if you would like to subscribe, that makes me happy, and a thumbs up, that always helps my channel. Anyway guys, thank you so much again guys, and take care. Bye.